There we go. Sorry about that delay. It's going to be a fun beginning to the replay. Try to cut that out. But I hope you guys are doing awesome today. This is day 2 of the 3-day Launch Your Coaching Business Challenge. In day 1, we covered how to develop that authentic confidence and certainty as a coach, which is super, super important. If you don't have the 4 pillars that we've talked about in day 1's training, then none of this is really going to work for you. You can learn some tactics and strategies and feel good, but ultimately you'll probably fizzle out before you actually get any results. So if you haven't watched that, go back and watch it. You can see that under the live videos on my YouTube channel, or it's also here in my replay funnel if that's where you're watching this as well. You click on day 1, the little thumbnail will take you back to that video. All right, and today, day 2 is going to be all about choosing your ideal coaching niche. This is going to be all about like what topic are you going to coach people in, and like who is your ideal client going to be, what result or outcome could you actually get for that person. This is really, really important. And I want to tell you all the story of how I found my ideal coaching niche to kick things off. So I originally, and I will just, I'm going to change this display. I'm going to try this. Hopefully that'll work. Yeah, I'm trying this new software. That's pretty cool. I originally got my start as a real estate investor. If you don't know my story, I built a big company and we flipped hundreds of houses and bought like a few dozen rental properties. And I achieved the, proverbial financial freedom where my passive income was paying my bills. I had like 36 rental properties or something like that. And I was like, this is cool, but I really want to do something other than just keep making more money. I want to teach and help other people. And that was when I decided to become a coach. And some guy that mentored me and I looked up to said, well, you're great at real estate, you've got to be a real estate coach. And I sort of just took him at his word. It kind of made sense because it was the only thing I had ever really had good results in. And so I started coaching in real estate investing. And I did this for like 4 years, and I found success in the niche ultimately. And my real estate business was doing like 25 grand a month consistently, which I thought was awesome, right? But the problem was I was just really burned out on real estate. I was so sick of talking about it and teaching people how to do it. I just wasn't interested in it anymore personally. And I went through the motions for probably almost a full year before my eyes were too glazed over and I just had to quit and like find what I was passionate about. And like ultimately the whole time I was coaching in real estate, I was learning about how to grow coaching businesses, not real estate. I was just like funnels and marketing and ads and social media and all that stuff. Obsessed with it, going to seminars, reading books, joining coaching programs to figure it out. And I realized like, okay, I have figured this coaching industry out to some degree. I could definitely help newer coaches start to make this a full-time income. And this is like where my heart is. This is where my passion is. And I decided to like reach out to my real estate investor network and of clients and prospects and say, hey, I'm putting a little workshop on to help people become online coaches. It's like $2,500. We're going to work together for 10 weeks. And I got like 4 people to sign up, and we had the absolute best time with this program. My heart was just so in it. It was like I was finally getting to teach all the stuff, that I was really passionate about, the stuff that I had been learning for all those years. And so like my work was aligned with what I loved and then now what I was teaching. And then I decided to completely pivot my business to helping people in this info, education, coaching, whatever you want to call it, space. And that was ultimately the 5-year journey that I went on to finding my ideal coaching niche. And I don't want it to have to take that long for you, or I don't want you to have to start the wrong business, because I basically had to shut it down and start all over again from scratch and rebuild an audience and all that. And so today I'm here to help you learn from my mistakes and start your business on the right niche from day one. Sound good? Let's sip this green tea and then we will get rolling. All right. So, what do I mean when I say the word niche? Well, niche usually refers to the general subject that you will coach people in. For example, you could be a nutrition coach or a business coach or a leadership coach or a parenting coach. And if you're still unclear on what that is for your coaching business, that's what we're going to fix today. But we're also going to clear up a couple of other things that coaches struggle with endlessly, like who is my ideal client? That is a big one that everyone always struggles with. Or what result can I get that person? These questions are really part of that larger umbrella of what you would call a coach's niche anyways. Like I help so-and-so do so-and-so. And so we have to tackle all of that. But let's start nice and easy and broad. Let's start with just the niche. What is the subject that you would be best to coach in? This is something that coaches struggle with all the time. And they also wonder, like, what if I'm not qualified to teach people in my niche? Or what if I'm passionate about leadership, but my actual skills are in fitness? How do I choose? So I want to tell you what I call the library test. That's what we're going to do to try and figure out your ideal coaching niche. So I want you to imagine that you are in a beautiful old library and they have books on every subject imaginable, and you're there by yourself for the whole day and you have no agenda other than to just enjoy yourself. So you cruise the aisles for an hour and you get this big pile of books, and then you go find the comfy couch and you sit down to read and enjoy yourself. And the books that you got were nonfiction for the purpose of this exercise. Now, my question to you is, what subjects would you have grabbed books on? Would they be business books, spirituality books, books on health, nutrition, leadership, parenting? I don't know. You tell me, what would you like to learn the most? Now, generally, I find that the topics that you're most passionate about today, so this is separate from the skills that you have today. We're just talking about the topics that you would most like to learn. What are those today? And I want you to, if you have a piece of paper and a pen, just make a list of like, what are the top 3 subjects that you would have grabbed books on in this library test exercise. And I want you to rank them too. This is number 1, 2, 3. And if you already know, like, you have a clear number 1, then you don't really have to write it down. But if you need to sort of score it like that, then do so, because I want to figure out what your number 1 is. Now, whatever that is, I recommend coaching in that subject area, in the area that you're most excited about and interested in today. We will talk about how you could get results for people in that niche later on. So don't worry if you're not like as competent or skilled in that niche that you're most interested in and excited about today, because there's ways around that. I believe that it's worth staying in that niche anyways, the one that you're most excited about, because that passion, that excitement that you have for it, that's ultimately your gas in the tank. That's what's going to help you stick with it for the long haul. And as you'll see, you can always dial back your promise while you're leveling up your skills. Like, you don't have to just promise the world. If you're passionate about leadership, but your skills are in real estate, and you're like, I should be a real estate coach, but I really want to coach people on leadership. Yeah, you'll probably have to charge less or promise less or whatever if you want to be a leadership coach, just because you don't have a track record there yet. But the passion that you have and the excitement for it is way more valuable than your present day skills. All right, we're going to talk more about that in a minute, but let's move on to choosing your ideal client. And I have another test for this exercise, and it is called the beer test. Okay, so I want you now to imagine that you are meeting somebody for a beer later today, and you're really excited because this person is the type of person that you really love being around. It's the person that gives you the most energy, and you know that you're going to have like a really engaged conversation with them, and it's just going to flow, and you're interested in the same stuff. We all have like people like that, right? And we also have people that sort of drain us and we're not looking forward to being around. So my question for you is, that person that you are really excited to meet because you're going to have that really engaged conversation with later, who are they? And when I ask that question, I'm asking you to tell me what their demographic is. So like, are they another entrepreneur? Are they another coach? Are they a dad, Are they a real estate investor or a 9-to-5er or a mom or whatever? So it's kind of like the demographic labels, what they call it, like how they would identify themselves as like, what do you do? If someone asks them that at a party, that's what I'm looking for here. Once you have the answer to that, I recommend choosing that demographic as your ideal client, the person you'd love to meet for a beer. For me, it's other coaches, consultants, authors, podcasters, people like that, because I just resonate with that type of person for some reason. They usually are driven and they have like a passion to create and to share and to build their business. And I just really enjoy having conversations with those types of people. Our conversations usually gravitate towards business type stuff. And, but if I meet someone who's just in the 9-to-5 and they're content with it, the topics and things that we have common interests in are a lot more limited, and the conversation tends to fizzle out faster. And so that's why I chose coaches as my ideal client. It's because it's just simply who I love to serve. I like to see their faces when they show up on the other end of the Zoom calls when I'm working with clients. And it's really important that you like the people that you serve too. So I recommend choosing that demographic that passes the quote unquote beer test, even if you're unsure today of how you're actually going to serve that person. I'll repeat this. The client really is the true foundation of your business. And it's more important than what we talked about already, the niche or the topic that you're going to coach people in, or the result you'll get for your clients, which we're going to talk about next, those two things can actually change. They really revolve around the client. The whole business result revolves around your ideal client. For example, let's say you decide that you want to help entrepreneurs because that's like the person you like to hang around with the most. And let's say that today your passion is in fitness. That's what you are reading about, thinking about, doing in your own life the most. And so you decide to start helping entrepreneurs get fit. And then later on, you add on a business coaching program to your offering for entrepreneurs. That is totally natural, normal. People do that all the time. And obviously entrepreneurs want help with more than just their fitness, right? They want help with their businesses. They might want help with their relationships or whatever else. And so the topics that you help people with, those can change and they can sort of stack onto each other, but the client stays the same. So the niche and result can change, but the client should stay the same. All right. Lastly, I want to spend a little time talking about figuring out what you can do for your ideal client. This is another huge hang up for coaches. And having a quantifiable outcome is the recommended end goal for your coaching program. Dan Henry has a quote that's famous. It's like the difference between a program that sells for $60 versus one that sells for $6,000 is the $6,000 program has a quantifiable end result. So it might be this program will help you get 10 clients per month using YouTube ads or something like that. And it's just so crisp and clear and quantifiable that you really know what you're getting. And I will tell you that this is a good thing to strive for, but I too sometimes fail to absolutely nail this on every single offer that I make. And so I don't think it's an absolute requirement, but the more quantifiable you can be with the language that you speak, the better. For example, I help moms lose 10 pounds in 30 days. Very quantifiable. People know for sure whether or not they got the outcome because it's measurable. However, like I said, many new coaches really struggle to define a quantifiable outcome. And that is okay, because if you haven't worked with any clients before, it's like, how could you promise a specific outcome when you don't have any proof or evidence that would allow you to make the claim? However, there are ways around this. Like, one thing I like to do is just to promise less. Like when I was a real estate coach and I had a portfolio of like 36 houses, I still was like, well, I don't know if I can really help somebody get this many properties, because it took me a lot of time and a lot of work and years. And I was like, but what I am confident in is I can help somebody get their first rental property. And so that was the messaging that I used. And I had a program that I was very confident in. Easy. It's like, like a piece of cake, just buy one house. And so I believed in it. It was quantifiable, and the market loved it, and they wanted it. So yeah, you can promise so little that you can virtually guarantee you will get the outcome for someone, provided that they show up and put in the work. And yes, you might have to charge less at first, but as you get more evidence to what you can do for people, you can increase the claim that you make and your price along with it. So everybody really worries about how they will enter into the coaching space and what they will charge, like the first person. And that's really not a good use of your time to worry about, because a lot of the time it just evolves naturally. Like, you might literally like work with the first 3 people for free just for a testimonial. And then your next group of people might be like cheap, and then you might charge a little more, and you're kind of testing your assumptions and making sure you can get that outcome. And then you're getting results. You're building up your own belief and conviction in what you do. You're building up the social proof with the people that you worked with. And so don't worry too much about how will I start? What will I charge? My first client. That is it's something that if you really hit high levels in this business, you'll probably look back and laugh at like how much you worried about that. I know I probably worried about it too much, and you really don't need to. So an example of like dialing back your offer to where it's like, I can definitely do this, is you could say, okay, screw 10 pounds in 2 weeks. How about I will help you lose 5 pounds in 2 weeks? If that's much more in your comfort zone to deliver on to somebody right now. And then when you get proof that you could actually help people lose 10 pounds, then you can increase your claim in your marketing. But you just don't want to go out and be saying things when like deep in your bones, you have doubts about whether you can do that. Your like the amount of conviction that you have, unfortunately for you scam artists out there, not you, but the ones that are, humans are great BS detectors. And we can pick up on if like somebody is legit or not. And so you don't want to be making claims that aren't true and that you do not believe. All right. So I've got a little homework for you guys and gals now around choosing your ideal niche, choosing this client that you're going to serve, and starting to brainstorm on what result you might be able to get for them. So, first, I have a couple of journaling questions for you in regard to choosing your ideal coaching niche. I want you to journal on this question. What topics are you currently the most excited to read and or learn about? In terms of figuring out who your ideal client is, I want you to journal on this question. What demographic would you be the most excited to have a conversation with over a beer or coffee? And lastly, when it comes to the result that you could get for people, I have an exercise for you to do. I want you to make a list of quantifiable results that you could potentially help your clients get. This is actually pretty fun. I've had clients come to me that were just like so worried about what they could possibly do for people and just all in their head about it. So I want you to actually make a list. Like if you're going to help entrepreneurs grow their business, well, what could you possibly do for them? You're going to help them launch their website. You're going to help them build a authentic sales script. You're going to help them get their first client. You're going to help them build an email follow-up sequence. You're going to help them launch a monthly print newsletter that goes out to all their clients. You know what I'm saying? Like literally just make a list of everything that might even be in your wheelhouse. Quantifiable results, right? So you can tell whether or not it happens. So don't put anything on the list like improve their mindset or something like that. It needs to be measurable. And then once you have the list on your spreadsheet, so don't put this in a journal, put it on a spreadsheet. I want you to score each quantifiable result in 2 ways. Number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your ability to get this result for a client? So you'll go down your list and give each one a score, scale 1 to 10. That one's an 8, that one's a 10, that one's a 2, and so on. Next column, I would like for you to score each quantifiable result on a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you about getting this result for a client? So again, go down the list. 10 is max excitement and 1 is not excited at all. And I'll tell you that this scoring rubric approach has actually helped a lot of my clients in a big way to see what sort of rises to the top. And like what is there something that they could help their ideal client do where they're both confident that they could do it and excited about helping somebody with that thing? Because really you want both. That is the ideal scenario. If you really love helping somebody build a funnel for their business and you're also really good at it, that is like where the stars align. Then, after you're done with your journaling and your scoring exercise for the quantifiable results, I would like for you to write out the following sentences, filling in the blanks. First, I am a blank coach, and whatever niche is the one that you're the most excited and interested about and passionate right now, put that in the blank. Next, I serve blank ideal client, the demographic that you most enjoy being around and having engaged conversations with. And then lastly, I help that ideal client to get the specific quantifiable result that ranks highest on your list. And so you might have a sentence that says, I help dads to, schedule or have, let's say, one successful date night with their wives every single week. One romantic date night weekly. I'm butchering this, but you get the point. I was trying to think of something quantifiable that's targeted at the ideal client. And then again, that would be the thing where you're like, I know I could help them do it. And I would love to help dads do that because I'm passionate about it. And then when you have that final statement, this is it's one sentence, but it's pretty important, right? Because you're speaking to who you want to serve the most, and then that specific outcome that you could best lead with. And obviously that is going to be within the niche that you're most interested in as well. Then I would ask you to pause after you've written this down and say, does this feel aligned to you? So when you say that final statement out loud, does it feel good? Do you feel like, yes, I can serve this person. I'm excited to help them get this outcome. I'm confident in my ability to help them get this outcome. Or does anything still feel off? And if it does, then sit with that and try to figure out what it is. And obviously, I'm here. If you have questions, you can email me or message me on Instagram or Facebook or wherever. You can type a comment in the chat, and I will be glad to help you. However, a potential hang-up that people run into at this stage is like just overthinking this, is being like, I think I want to help people start hire a sales rep, but I'm not, I don't know, I might do a website, and they just sort of waffle forever. And really, after having enough clients that were stuck in that, and also feeling that way myself, what I've found to be true for me and them is that underneath all that flip-flopping and all that waffling and back and forth is often a lack of certainty, a lack of confidence. And because there isn't absolute certainty, then it leads to paralysis. It leads to inaction. And so I'm just telling you that I've come up with what I think is the best way to figure out your niche, figure out your client, figure out what you could do for them if you're new and you don't have a lot of evidence yet. However, this is the best guess at arriving at that, okay? That's actually what it is. It's the best guess. It's not science, like it's going to work 100% every time and you know, we're just going to land on that thing. Because a lot of people who we all look up to in this industry changed their own niche more than once prior to finding their sweet spot, to being like, okay, now I really found the thing that I could do forever, and this is my true superpower, and this is also like what the market wants, and just finding where all the stars align. And so I want you to have a healthy balance between doing your due diligence up front, which is basically what we've done in this video. You know, I don't think you actually have to analyze this more deeply than what we've covered in this video in order for you to get started and to start working with people, even if it's for free for the first couple people. Well, because the thing is this coaching process is an iterative one, which means it is like a feedback loop. So you work with someone, you see what they need, you give it to them, and then that informs your coaching program. And you say, oh, I was missing a whole module on mindset. This person needed a lot more mindset help than I thought they would need. And then the next client, you have the mindset stuff in there and you go work with them and it works okay, but then they were missing some tactical stuff, or they were missing like a step-by-step blueprint. So you add the step-by-step blueprint, and then the third person goes through your program with the mindset stuff and the step-by-step blueprint. And you're like, this is better, but it's still missing like something to help them with their productivity or their time management. And then the fourth person gets that, and you see where I'm going with this. And that's really the only way that you can build a masterpiece of a program or a course, is the iterative process of just working with someone, tweaking, fine-tuning, adjusting. So you spend a little time up front going over what we went over in this video. You calibrate your business, and then once it's calibrated, you must move forward and allow your action and the feedback that you get via your action to inform your decisions from there. You can't figure this out caved out in a cabin in the woods any more really than what we've gone over in this video, at least not in my experience. Cool. All right, on day 3, we are going to learn what I call the 4-step coaching business blueprint. So tomorrow I'm going live again at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. This is the 3rd and final day of the Launch Your Coaching Business Challenge. And we're going to learn the 4-step coaching business blueprint. So this will basically be, if you could imagine me having a physical blueprint, like a map, that roll it out on the table and show you the picture of what we're building here. What exactly are you building when you build one of these online coaching businesses? And so I'll reveal the blueprint to you, and you'll see that there's some non-negotiable parts of the blueprint that must be created. Like if you're going to build a car, it has to have wheels, right? At least in present day technology. There's also such thing as like the wheels or the engine or whatever for a coaching business. There's the pieces that you have to build, and then you'll also get to see where you can customize, where you can color in a certain piece based upon your personal preferences, or choose if whether you're going to have a gas-powered engine or a battery-powered one. You don't have to follow an exact framework like a lot of the coaches out there will tell you to do. I will also be making a special offer for you to work with me personally every single week to build your coaching business the right way and to get your next 5 to 10 clients. Cool? So if you are like, this is great and I'm enjoying this challenge, but I'm still a little confused and I would like for somebody to hold my hand and just look at my specific situation, tell me what to do, and coach me every single week, then I'm going to be rolling out that offer tomorrow. I'll explain all the details on how you can get in. It's a really sick program. I think you're going to like what you see, but I will let you be the judge of that. Lastly, if you have questions for me, you can always submit them. You can put them in the chat. You can DM me or email me, brian@brianelwood.net. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. And I want to thank you so much for showing up to day 2 of the 3-day Launch Your Coaching Business Challenge. Without further ado, I will see you all tomorrow at the same time for the final day. I'm excited